Have you ever stared at a folder on your computer, just trying to figure out which document is the actual final version? Yeah, it's a feeling we all know way too well. Well, today, we're going to fix that, for good. We're going to walk through a super simple but really powerful system for file versioning that promises to bring some much-needed sanity back to your digital life. So let's start with the problem, and honestly, it's a big one. I call it the file name nightmare. You know exactly what I'm talking about, that familiar chaos that just takes over when you're trying to track your work and all the different revisions. I mean, seriously, just take a look at this. All these scattered files, the question marks, the dead ends. Does this feeling of just digital confusion look familiar? If you've ever worked on a project with more than one draft, I'm willing to bet it does.
And this, oh man, this is where it always ends up, right? This single file name tells a whole story of stress and confusion. You've got V4, then someone's initials, the word final, which we all know is never really final, and then that desperate plea, use this one. It's a total recipe for mistakes, but thank goodness there is a much, much better way.
Okay, so let's leave that chaos behind us and move on to the solution. We're going to build a really simple system, it's like a code really, that brings clarity and sanity back into your work. No more guesswork, I promise. And here it is, V1.2.3. It looks so simple, right? Just 3 numbers separated by dots. But this little sequence, this is the key to everything. Each one of these numbers has a specific job, a specific meaning that's going to bring order to your files. Let's break down how.
The whole system is built on these 3 parts. The first number, that's for your major revisions. You know, the big fundamental changes. The second number is for minor revisions. Think of these as significant steps forward. And that third number, that tracks the small incremental changes, all those little edits you make along the way.
All right, now we get to the really good stuff. Let's dig into what each number really means and, maybe more importantly, the specific rules for when you should change it. This is where the system is going to start to click for you. First up, the big one, the major revision. This number is your signal that something fundamental has shifted. We're talking about completely restructuring the document, rewriting huge sections, or maybe even changing its entire direction. This is not for small tweaks. This is for a total overhaul. So check out this example. Let's say you just finished a massive rewrite on version 1.2.3. You don't just go to 1.2.4. No way. You make the big jump to V2.0.1. And see how the second and third numbers reset? That clearly tells everyone, hey, this is a fresh start, a whole new phase for this document. Next up is the minor revision. Now this is your workhorse number. You'll probably use this one the most. You change this after you've completed a distinct chunk of work, like putting in all the feedback from your boss or finishing a specific round of edits. It marks a real milestone. Let's see how it plays out. So imagine you're at version 1.2.3. You get a bunch of feedback. Once you've made all those edits, you save the new version as V1.3.1. See that? The major version stays the same, the minor version ticks up to show you finished a round of work, and that last number resets for the next set of little changes.
And finally, we have the incremental change. Think of this as your personal safety net. As you're working, cutting a paragraph, moving a section around, trying out some new wording, you just tick this number up. It creates a little breadcrumb trail of your work, so you can always go back to the version you had an hour ago if something goes wrong.
So as you work, you just keep saving new copies and bumping that last number up. V1.3.1 becomes V1.3.2, which becomes V1.3.3, and so on. Each save makes sure you can always take a step back to a previous point without that fear of losing your work. It's like a true undo button for your whole document.
Okay, so let's just put it all together on one slide. This little table gives you the whole system at a glance. Major is for those heavy rewrites. Minor is for after you get feedback. And incremental is for all your small daily edits. It's simple, it's logical, and trust me, once you start using it, it just becomes second nature.
Theory is great and all, but let's see how this thing actually works in a real-world scenario. We're going to walk through a typical feedback loop and watch how the numbers change at every single step of the process.
Okay, so let's follow the steps. In step 1, you've finished your edits and you send off version 1.3.34 for review. For step 2, the feedback comes back. You can even save their marked up file with their initials just for your own records. Then, and this part is key, for step 3, you create a new file to start working on. And since it's a new round of edits, you bump up that minor version number to V1.4.1. Now, this is probably the single most important rule of the entire process. Always, always make a copy of your file first, and then rename that new copy with the new version number. Never just rename the file you were working on. This is what preserves your entire history, and it's the only way to prevent accidentally overwriting all your old work.
So we've organized our folder, but what about the document itself? I've got one final pro tip for you that takes the system to the next level and makes sure you will never be confused about which version you're looking at ever again.
Now, this tip is so simple, you're going to wonder why you haven't been doing it all along. The advice is to just put the entire file name, version number and all, right into the header or the footer of your document. It seems like such a small thing, but the impact is huge. So why is this so effective? Well, first, you can always tell which version is which, just at a glance. Second, if you ever print it out, the version number is physically on every single page. No more mystery documents floating around. And best of all, in most programs, you can set this field to update automatically, so it's literally zero extra work for you.
So there you have it, a simple, elegant system to manage your files, cut down on stress, and prevent some really costly mistakes. The only question left is, are you ready to say goodbye to final_final_use this one forever and bring some real, lasting order to your own files?